Hello, everybody. This is Professor Truth, and this is Secret Space series that we're bringing you today. We're going to start with some sound clips just to get things started here.
It's all willful ignorance. You chose to be ignorant.
Of course, this is talking about the general masses of the population who have chosen to be ignorant. Now, this next clip is from Stan Deyo, and I just want you to hear it.
In the Pentagon, and the military circles that are in the know about the cover-up here, they kind of in whispered tones talk about the return of the Sumerian gods, and they're talking about the what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into Old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
Well, could be
under the other ancient names.
Do you think that has anything to
Okay, there Stan Deyo talks about the Anunnaki returning. And I was aware of one mission, at least, to Israel about 10 years ago, where 35-foot Anunnaki were coming here in preparation for the rest of them returning. And I believe they are returning on the Nibiru Planet X star system. So that's interesting. Now we're going to play this one.
But what you're saying is we've got some world leaders who they really don't have
out of nowhere.
They come out of nowhere and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they come out of nowhere and they do a lot of damage. So who are these world leaders?
But what you're saying is we've got some world leaders who they really don't have
out of nowhere.
They come out of nowhere and they do a lot of damage.
That's right.
They do a lot of damage to the world. Are you acquainted with the case of the young computer hacker from Great Britain, Gary McKinnon?
If you recall, Gary McKinnon was one I put on my Aliens Among Us video, and he hacked into the Pentagon. You'll hear it here.
I don't recognize the name.
Okay, all right. Well, this several years ago, I guess it's probably been 5 years or so ago. He's just a young guy, in Great Britain, and he hacked into the Pentagon computers. And he claims that he uncovered a list of active duty U.S. military commanders who are not human.
That's right. That's what I've been telling everybody forever. A lot of the people around you are hybrids or even clones or even what they call ETs that are shape-shifting to look like people. I know it sounds bizarre, but isn't this whole corona pandemic bizarre? It's because it's a biblical issue that nobody talks about, because they are bringing in their final assault on the seed of Adam. But yeah, and who are they? They call them deep state, but folks, nobody talks about what they really are. You remember the movie They Live? They're not human.
Now, the U.S. government wants their hands on this young man, and they want to put him in Guantanamo.
And obviously also they were training us for service as adults in a secret time-space program that I believe did emerge.
And the time-space program that Andrew Basiago is talking about is Project Pegasus. It's very fascinating.
And exists to this day. In fact, I think the Gary McKinnon case links to that, because he found an off-planet navy.
You're talking about the young man, the young hacker in Great Britain.
Yeah, I mean, we were told that we were going to be placed in we were going to be sent to the Naval Academy, and that was going to be used as a pretext to involve us in future project activities. So I believe that the time-space capability is still under the Navy and may link to that secret naval fleet in space that McKinnon found in Defense Department records.
And just for the benefit of listeners who don't know the story about Mr. McKinnon's young man in Great Britain who is accused of hacking into Pentagon computers from his home in Great Britain. This happened 4, 5, 6 years ago. He claims that he actually saw top secret list of U.S. military officers who are not human but are extraterrestrials. Now, the Pentagon wants Mr. McKinnon's, they want his butt in Guantanamo. And they've been trying for years to get him extradited to the United States. And I don't think he's been shipped over here yet, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, so the British government has not surrendered him yet, but he's facing life in a military prison if he is brought to the USA. Now, we have hackers getting into military computers all the time, every day. This is an ongoing story. But they haven't gone after anyone like they have this young hacker who claims he saw the list of military commanders who are actually aliens. Now, think whatever you want to think about it, but they sure are after him. They want to lock him up. So let's continue with your story, Andrew.
Right.
Yeah, they do want to lock him up. It's a scary thing. It's definitely a scary thing, what they're trying to do there. So, okay, continuing with Andrew Basiago.
In 1972, I had served in Project Pegasus for 3 years. It actually, chronologically, was 4 years because there were a number of hidden summers embedded in my experiences because we were teleporting to New Mexico, involved in project activities, and then we were teleporting back to New Jersey, arriving on the afternoon of the mornings we had left.
So they teleport, and this is similar to the 20 and Back program. They go off for 20 years and get sent back less than a second after they left. We've talked about how this works. It's time-space deformity, okay? Time-space deformity, but it's real. This stuff is really going on, folks. It gives us hope, though. It gives us hope because who's in control of everything? Who is the master of time-space? Well, Jesus the Father is. And so he can take you off for 1,000 years and put you back as if less than a day or less than a second has passed, and he can script your future.
So I had essentially 3 extra summers sandwiched into those 3 years.
So this time-space stuff is very fascinating, and we'll continue with that. But for now, I want to play some clips about secret space. And why am I doing this, everybody? Because I'm trying to expand your thinking to be aware of what's really going on, and that this Earth that we live in, this planet, has been controlled since Jesus, if not earlier than that. It's been controlled since Moses. You remember the pillar of fire by night and the light by day? Well, what do you think that was? That was a UFO of the holy angels intervening. Well, we are a big experiment. We are a spiritual boot camp, and you're being tested. That's what the purpose of life is. So we're going to go into some clips from the secret space, and I will comment on them.
This is a very interesting conversation that we're having regarding the secret space program. I want to emphasize once again that this material is highly controversial and that you probably have not heard anything like this before unless you've been following what we've been talking about. I do want to make it clear one more time that I have investigated this subject for many, many years. I've been in contact with insiders for over 20 years, and I've spoken to dozens of people with different types of classified clearance. And my conclusion has been that there very much has been an industrialization of our solar system and beyond by what you could call the government or the military, depending on how you want to word this.
So an industrialization of our solar system and beyond by the government or the military. Now, it's really factions within a government that, if you want to call it deep state, but it goes beyond deep state. It is alien, fallen angel factions that are working for Lucifer to bring back Atlantis, to bring back the kingdom of this world. You know, the pyramid, the capstone that's been removed and on our dollar bill shows the reptilian eye of a serpent. Well, that capstone that was removed was Jesus Christ, the kingdom of heaven. Well, they want to replace that, and that's what the Freemasons call as above, so below. That's the Star of Molech that we see on the State of Israel's flag, as above, so below. Big hint there. And so what is behind all this? Well, it's Lucifer's fallen angels working for him, trying to bring back their one world order, which is a counterfeit of Jesus the Father's one world order. So now we'll play clip number 2.
It seems like, from what you're saying, the LOC, or Lunar Operations Command, is like the focal point for how Earth is then connecting out to the greater space program and the cosmos in general. So tell us a little bit more about the LOC. I guess, first of all, what does it look like as you're flying into it?
Well, you can tell it's been built and added onto quite a bit since the 50s. It's built into into the craters and into the rocky area to where it blends in somewhat. Some part of it is built into the rock. Very little of it is above ground.
Oh, okay.
Most of it I have not had access to.
So this clip shows that factions have been on the moon since the 1950s, folks. Now, everything is centered around 1948. Two things happened. You had the Roswell event, and you had the apostate state in the Middle East to be established by the Balfour Declaration. Okay, well, those are two evil events. And because of that, especially Roswell, where somebody made a deal with the devil, we started to be given technology. So rapidly, the CIA and the NSA were formed within 3 to 5 years of Roswell, and rapidly a great space exploration began. Now, this had already started with the Germans and Hitler. I don't want to use Nazi because everybody's knee-jerk reaction on that, but Hitler recognized that there was a faction on this planet we call the usual suspects that were destroying Germany. And he and his generals started working with fallen angels. Yes, that's true. And they were given technologies back then to initiate transformation. But it didn't culminate until later in 48 with the Roswell event. And so, but my point on this is, we are told that NASA is now sending rockets to the moon or to Mars. Well, folks, that's the show. It's not the game. That's just for public consumption. We've been on the moon, Mars, and beyond the solar system for more than 50 years. And in ancient times, the times of Adam and Noah, they were doing the same thing. So, next clip.
If there are this many craft going to and from the LOC, and you say it's on the dark side of the moon, how could it possibly have been kept secret from us? Couldn't people with their telescopes see all these ships coming and going from the moon?
People do see that. There's actually another base on the backside of the moon that belongs to human beings. It belongs to one of the secret space programs called Dark Fleet that a lot of people see craft coming from. That I can give more of a location of that one. If you're looking at the moon, it's at about the 10 o'clock position. People have filmed and seen flurries and swarms of craft leaving and coming from that area quite a bit. Amateur astronomers with video cameras hooked up to their telescopes. This is something that has been seen.
So this is not hidden. It's only hidden by the mainstream media to keep the sheeple dumbed down. Now, I'm not saying any of these groups are good. In fact, they're not. This is all part of Angel Wars and the Angelic Rebellion, which Lauren and I teach on Angel Wars. This is all continuation. These wars have been ongoing. They've hybridized various indigenous populations of different planets. They've created their own hybrid species that can be indwelt with the spirit of Lucifer. And now that Lucifer has taken on artificial intelligence and permeated the physical world, these entities and factions that you'll hear about, they still all work for him. Now, they are, in many times, in division. My point is, these are not God's holy angels in any case. None of them are. This is all, a house divided cannot stand. What you're going to hear is all the divisions within the satanic kingdom vying for power. A little bit later, you'll hear a clip. Maybe I'll just go to it now on the Babylonian money system, if I can figure out which one it is. But anyway, I can't figure out which one it is. But anyway, that was that clip.
Is there anything on the side of the moon facing us of interest, or is it all being kept on the back so that it's less apt to be seen in the moon's surface?
Most of it is on the back. There are areas on the front side where craft come out and there are entrances. There are also areas that are by ET groups that are covered by a sort of like hologram shielding that prevents us from being able to see it. Most of it is on the back side of the moon for obvious reasons. For those on the planet's surface that are not meant to see the stuff, won't see it.
So this is interesting, especially when he mentioned the hologram shielding. Well, that's also how they're hiding Planet X and its star system. It's going to be harder and harder to do when something that large is coming in. But they're using advanced God technology or alien technology to bend light, holographic shielding. So let me see if I can play the Babylonian money clip. There's factions within the Luciferian angelic rebellion that faction against each other. There's one they call the Babylonian money magic system, which we know that the bloodlines of Cain, the usual suspects, the Edomites, are in control of. Well, other factions within the Luciferian hybrid groups, they want to be in control. Now, a lot of them have left planet with the Germans, and they are aware of the money magic group. But just listen to this clip.
As Solar Warden has started a Cold War, pretty much a Cold War, they started to like fly in front of the International Space Station to accidentally show their vessels, little things like that in the beginning.
If Solar Warden is going to try to create disclosure where obviously the other parts of the space program don't want it, couldn't that lead to a shooting war between these factions?
Yes. Yeah, it was on the brink of that when the Sphere Alliance, the Sphere Being Alliance, went into an active mode and made contact with the Alliance, the Secret Space Program Alliance, which had just started accepting defectors from some of these other groups, to where it wasn't just a Solar Warden group anymore. The Alliance was made up of defectors from the other programs as well. So it's a hodgepodge of defectors from all the space programs that have a common goal of ending the tyranny on Earth of basically the secret Earth government that controls the Babylonian money magic slave system, and to bring to Earth the technologies that we have developed that has free energy, all kinds of medical technologies that will heal just about anything you can think of, clean up the environment. Overnight, these technologies would collapse the financial system, and there would be no need for a financial system. And they want to bring this to Earth and to also do a full disclosure of all of the crimes against humanity that all of these elites have been doing over many, many years. That's their goal.
Okay, so what do we have there? We have the exposure of a off-world faction They call them the defectors from various secret space projects and programs. Now, what are these? These are different groups of Lucifer's fallen angels and hybrids that are on many planets and many solar systems that are working together. They want to be in charge, and they know that the Earth is they call God the master of divine law, master of universal law. They know that the master of universal law has chosen Earth as a spiritual boot camp, and they know that mankind is the ones being tested, and they know mankind is under the tyranny of the administrators of Lucifer's kingdom, which are the bloodline of Cain, and they want to get rid of that bloodline of Cain, just like there's the bloodlines of Adam and then a lot of other people on the planet. Well, these other people now want to be in control, and they know that the lineage of Cain is currently in control. So they're working together, and they're gonna do this by somehow causing disclosure of alien technology and saying, we're here to help. We have medical technologies. We have financial technologies that will get rid of your debt slave system and all this. We're here to help. But what are they in reality? They're just another set of fallen angels posing as God, coming to displace the current set of Lucifer's administrators that got us under the Babylonian money magic. So it's just a lesser form of evil. None of these are Jesus Christ or his holy angels. I want that to be clear.
When was the LOC actually built?
The LOC was built onto an existing Nazi facility that had been built in the latter parts of the 30s and 40s.
So it goes that far back?
That far back. Once the industrial might of the United States became involved, they really started putting a lot into it and built it out like crazy. They started really building in earnest in the late 50s on it.
So the LOC is a Lunar Operation Command. It's the backside of the moon operation facility that is for principally humans, because there are others. And again, the point on this clip is they've been doing this since the 50s, since they were given legal permission. The dark side was given legal permission to do this because we, the Adamites, have already fallen into a great state of apostasy. So since the 50s, folks, what is that, 70 years ago? 70 years ago, we were on the moon. Think about that.
If we had this all the way back in the 50s, then why did we do the Apollo missions? Why did we land on the moon? What was the point?
There are various levels of programs. There are some in NASA, and there's NASA equivalent military programs that are what they think are the most cutting edge. And they think they're at the top of the totem pole as far as security clearances and need to know of what's going on in the solar system. And these people would literally get into a fist fight with you if you were to challenge them and tell them they weren't. So I guess the lie has many levels, and the people at each level are told they're at the top. And it's not the case, but they believe it. Just as everything is completely compartmentalized. In each compartment, everyone thinks they're doing the most important cutting edge work and have the broadest knowledge. And all the other compartments and groups are below them.
Okay, everything is compartmentalized, and he said there's many layers to the lie. I call this a show in the game. So everybody believes that the folks working at NASA, the folks working in various organizations, they believe they're at the top, and they're working on these very compartmentalized, and they are. I've worked in that world before, but it's all the show. It's all for the Earth organization, the kingdom of world, and the show. It's not It's not what's really going on. So why is this important? It's important because in my view, it builds your faith. When you really know the extent of technology and that there's with all this technology, how come they who hate the seed of Adam haven't destroyed us? Because there is a God, his name's Jesus. He has holy angels who are protecting us. That's your hope. Because when all this stuff's going on, it's vastly superior and could, with its weaponry, could easily take out its enemy, who are the children of God. But we're being protected. And we're going to be protected through everything up until the point that it's time to depart. So the purpose of life is spiritual boot camp again. How are you spending your time? Are you focused on things of this world as the system pulls you down into the mud, calcifies your pineal gland, occupies all your time on futility and useless activities? Or are you focused on things above? How are you spending your time? So now I'm going to talk about the show and the game. Here's a clip.
Do you think that the Apollo mission was a money laundering operation?
Very well could have been part of it, to channel a lot of that money into the secret space program. The people that were running those programs on the lower level really believed in what they were doing and really thought it was cutting edge and the highest technology we had.
Do you think those employees could have had information withheld from them about how expensive what they were working on actually was?
Oh yeah, they were deceived on intelligence and they were deceived on all levels.
They are deceived on all levels, and we are deceived on all levels. You're lied to in your religious systems. You're lied to in your educational systems. The pharmaceutical system is there to kill you with sorcery. The governments of the world are run by fallen angels and hybrids that are designed, they're setting up to kill you. This whole corona issue is a planned demic to get you to take the mark of the beast vaccine, which will kill you both physically and spiritually. We are at that time now. Brother Danny just taught that if you start from the Exodus in Egypt and count 3.5 days, 3,500 years, we're at the very end of tribulation within 1 or 2, 3, 5 years. And that all makes sense. It all makes sense. It's the end. And these factions we're hearing about in the secret space are getting ready. There's going to be a war, Third World War, and then there's going to be a fake alien invasion from these factions we talked about earlier, who are aligning to displace what's here now. Okay? One more clip for today.
The moon is a very strict zone that is like a giant Switzerland. It's a very neutral zone, and hitting it with that projectile was a very bad idea. And from what I read, they were warned not to come back.
It's strange that you would say that the moon is this neutral Switzerland type of area because it's right next to the Earth. If it's our moon, shouldn't it be our property and we get to have control over the moon?
No.
It doesn't work that way?
No. If you've seen sort of the maps of Antarctica, how it's stripped, it's sliced up amongst all the nations.
Yeah.
The back of the moon is that way too. And all these different regions are pretty much owned and inhabited by different ET groups.
Really?
And there are some groups that have bad blood or have warred with each other going back many, many, many thousands of years. But they have installations that are just a couple kilometers away from each other. And they have been there for many thousands of years in peace.
Okay, so just like Atlantis that was divided into 10 regions, just like he said Antarctica that is divided into sections, The backside of the moon is divided into regions or divisions for different ET groups. Now remember, what are ETs? They're fallen angels and hybrids. Now at this point, most of them are hybrids because the fallen angels, the high up ones, the archons, the Anunnaki, and the draconian seraphs, they stay out of sight, but they come in when necessary. And they've hybridized vessels to be indwelt with the disembodied fallen angels of the rebellion, the 1/3 part of the angels that appealed their case and said, I don't want to say I'm guilty in this rebellion, so they became disembodied. Well, they're making bodies for them, and that's what these ET groups are for the most part. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. That I'm trying to expand folks' awareness and bring out things that, we'll be called a lot of names. They say, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. Well, no, it is a conspiracy, but it's not a theory. Okay, these are facts. And we'll be called all sorts of names. But truth is a narrow way that leadeth to life. There's a spiritual path, which is Jesus Christ. And then there's an experiential path that we're bringing out today. Your life as you know it has been planned. You heard the clip we played about Jacob's daughter, 2 years old, goo goo gaga, and all of a sudden out of the blue she says, Daddy, I was chosen and I chose you to be my daddy, and I came through the water into my body. This, folks, there's hope in this. You have to get out of your mundane thinking of your birth, school, work, death syndrome. No, you are a royal priesthood, and you angels out there, you're also children of God. Okay? And God is still in control. Keep your thoughts on his things, but be aware there is a nefarious agenda to bring in the kingdom of Lucifer, the kingdom of world. They've replaced our capstone on the dollar bill with Lucifer's eye, okay? Well, guess what? It's a short time. Occupy until he comes. It's a short time. We laid it out 3,500 years from the Exodus is right about now. Right about now. The tribulation is almost over. It's not over. There's a couple more years, but Jesus is coming really soon. Really get your life in order, your righteousness. Really. Stop watching TV. Get some sunshine. Stop focusing on negative things. God's still in control, and he's scripting your tomorrow as we speak. This is Professor Truth with the Secret Space Show, Secret Space Series. Until next time, may God richly bless you. Let it be so.